again. We just had a hell of a episode that we just knocked out with our guys. How you feeling today, bro?
Shout out. Hey, we alive.
We alive. Hey, in real life, he says this all the time, but it's definitely...
As a black man, come on, dude. This is a
it's
gift.
Necessary to
be 30 like plus?
100%.
Never heard of.
I'm only 29. I'll be 30 next week. So I'm in agreement with what you're saying, man. But
yeah, Leo.
Cancer. I'm on the cusp. I'm
on
the last day.
21st.
Last day. Yeah. But today we got a amazing show.
Shout out.
Today we got a dope individual that I've known for about a year or two. Someone I've picked up a lot of game from in finances and stuff like that. He's a financial advisor, financial coach, hell of a father, great dude. Meeting him and just gambling and stuff like that, just messing around.
He took some money from me too.
But yeah, I can say he's a good family friend, man, a friend of the family, man. I'm it's an honor for you to be here, bro. I really appreciate you coming. Arthur Burton, man, make some noise, man. So let's get right into it, man. So me and my guys, right? We're in a space where we are in the cannabis space now. Okay, it's a business venture we've tapped into because it's $1 billion, potential $1 trillion industry at some point. I don't know. Do you smoke or did you smoke?
Nah, never.
Never?
Nah.
Okay.
I probably smoked twice in my life. One time, 19 in Jamaica. And another time, just on the fluke.
Okay, I want to hear the Jamaica story.
Yeah, let's go there.
Jamaica. Do you remember anything from it?
I remember everything.
Okay, what?
Because I was on a cruise with some of my friends, and being a single guy out there, just they was on the islands, got the real weed, and brought it on the ship, and then they was just drinking and smoking. And then they was like, "Come on, Art, you can do it." I was like, "Nah," and I did it, and that was pretty much it, man.
Yeah.
There's other parts of the story, but
you ain't gotta get into it. I know some things and some topics, man, you don't want to touch on.
Please, no.
But I'll just ask because, like I said, we in the cannabis space,
right,
and that's one of the
right.
first questions we ask every guest that we bring on. But like I said, me knowing you for the time that I know you, I know a little bit about you, but for the listener and people that's watching right now, just give them exactly who you are, how you, where you from, and how you grew up.
Man, my name is Arthur Burton. I grew up in San Francisco.
Shout out!
I was born in Dallas though, but I was raised in San Francisco all my life. I grew up in Fillmore, and I grew up around it all. I grew up around the drug dealings, the killings, because I lived on McAllister Street. So if anybody familiar with the city, I literally grew up in the heart of Fillmore, 1165 McAllister between Fillmore and Webster. So in my lifetime growing up, I probably seen about 30 people get shot on that that one block. Right. I probably seen a lot of bodies lost on that one block, but. One of the things I can say about growing up in the city is that if you could grow up, they used to always say if you could make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Nah, if you could grow up in the inner city and you can make it in the city, you can make it anywhere because you got to wear so many hats growing up in the hood. Like some days you got to be a tough guy when in reality you're really not a tough guy. Some days you got to be slick because it requires you to be slick. So growing up in the hood, it allows you to wear all these different hats that propels you in life. In life you got to be somebody that you're not always trying to be that day. Like sometimes you gotta be a good employee, man. That shit is hard when you having a bad day. Your girl left you, your children acting up, but you still gotta go to work to be a good employee. Yeah. So growing up in the hood, it kind of like prepare you for those things, the adversity. And I was telling one of y'all previous guests that about adversity. Adversity introduces a man to who they really are. You hit with adversity, and then that's gonna let you know who you are. Exactly. Have a child at a young age, don't step up. Guess what? That's just who you are. Yeah. I'm not saying that you can't never become something better, but right then in that moment, adversity introduces a man to who he really is. So,
100%.
Yeah. Speak!
I'm in agreement with everything you're saying.
Me too.
I grew up, I faced a lot of adversity coming out. Hunters Point, San Francisco, born and raised.
Shout out!
Like we were saying on previous episodes, you don't get certain luxuries that people you meet are like down the road in your journey.
Right.
They grow up a little different. They grow up with a silver spoon. They grow up a lot of things given to them. A lot of shit that we grow up with, you gotta earn it. You know what I'm saying? Not just in your home, but outside of it, or your neighborhood and your friends, and just people that you just counteract with and just come in contact with. Right. It's just a different way of living. So, like I said when I introduced you, you're a financial advisor, financial coach. What made you want to go into that realm and want to chase that dream too?
You know, it's funny because I used to work in the medical field in my early 20s. I was a pathology assistant, and like insurance and finance was never on my scope. But as a young child, I always told my mom I wanted to be a businessman. So that could be whatever, right? So I had lost my job at the hospital, and I met this woman, said she could teach me how to do something good one time and I could get paid for the rest of my life. And at 24, I was like, shit, I need to learn that. Because I knew I could do something good one time, but then to get paid for the rest of my life, that was kind of like the bonus, right?
Yeah, the game changer.
So for me at 24, learning that information, I realized that it was all about insurance and finance. So I was like, well, this is easy. Like, what does it take? You see what I'm saying? So I paid to get my to take my licensing classes and things like that. I went to go take a state exam. I roughly spent about $300 and some dollars to get my license. And over the course of 24 to now, I'm 38. I'll be 39 in July 24. Made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of something that cost me $300. So for me, and then I don't care whatever I do in life. You know, I have a publishing company, I have a consulting company, I have all these different companies. I would never not do insurance and finance because that's the one thing I know everybody needs. Yeah. Everybody need insurance. Everybody need financial literacy. So for me, it was just a thing out of necessity. Like, I don't care how wealthy you ever become in your life, at some point someone's going to be financially managing your money because 100%. You're not going to be able to do it. And even if you do have the capability of doing it, there's a chance that you're going to make a mistake because you got other things going on. Right. But you're going to need somebody who's 100%, all they do is manage Poo's finances. Right. So for me, that's kind of like how I looked at it. Yeah. That's why I dived into it.
Yeah, so I know for me, I'm definitely gonna be asking you for, financial help and things of that nature. But what exactly? Because I'm gonna keep it real. But after about 2 years ago, I'm honestly I was financial illiterate. A lot of things that I was putting my money towards was shit I didn't need, pretty much. Things I didn't want, things I didn't really wasn't appreciating any value. Right. Money wasn't coming into it. It was just all the wrong things. So for someone, the average person that's listening in, because I know no disrespect to any of our audience, but I know a lot of people that follow us and are familiar and come from the same place that I come from. So we don't get this type of game. So for the financial illiterate, what is like some good tools and just good saving measures that you think somebody can go into? Like just like put your money towards this or like save it this way, just little pieces to the puzzle.
So every client that I sit down with, that I talk to, the first thing we have to do is a budget, right? Because how can I direct you if I don't know how much money is coming in? Right. And most importantly, how much money is going out? Everybody know how much money comes in because you get a paycheck, right? Yeah. So first and 15th, bi-weekly, however the paycheck comes, every time you get a check, $2,000 coming in. The problem is that you're making $4,000, but you're spending $5,000. Yeah. It's like, how is that possible, right? People do it all the time. I'm one of them. You make $4,000, but somehow you're spending $5,000. And so the first thing is always a budget. And it's funny because some people just don't want to do budget, but it goes back to adversity, right? If you do a budget, it's going to introduce you to who you really are. And that's the hard truth that people don't want to, confront. Like, damn, I'm really bad with my money. If I don't pay attention to it, I ain't gonna worry about it. That's kind of like how people treat their finances. That's why people have more debt than they have assets. You see what I'm saying? Like, because damn, I don't want to. No. They just don't want to, deal with it. So for me, it's like I'm not doing it because I'm trying to make money. I'm doing it because my people need the help. Right. Like if I just wanted to make money in finances, I would not sit down with my people. And I'm just being truthful because my people, they want everything given to them. They have a sense of entitlement. It's because we've been through a lot. You see what I'm saying? True. But the problem is that they don't want to make the necessary sacrifices to now have the necessary wealth that's going to allow them to have some freedom. I was helping a client. I was teaching a class called ABCs of Investing. And the woman literally said, well, I don't want to just be saving money. I want to take vacations. I was like, you can take vacations, but you got to learn how to do both. Right. Like, how are you taking more vacations and then you're not saving as much? Like, you're taking $5,000 vacations, but you don't even got $5,000 saved up. Right. You don't have 3 months of your income saved up. You don't have 6 months of your income saved up. So fast forward to where we at right now in this whole pandemic. Just think if you had health issues, right? And you had to go to a job where you was high chance you was gonna get sick. If you had 6 months of your income, you'll look at that job a little different, right? Because you know that, well, I don't need to be here. I got 6 months of my income stored. You're not going to work with anxiety.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You're not going to work feeling like I gotta be here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because you built up a nest egg where I could lose a job. You got 6 months of your income. You are not tripping with 6 months of your income stored up. You see what I'm saying? Your bills are still gonna be paid. Car note, all them same things that don't go away when you lose your job, you're gonna still be able to take care of. So the budget is like the first place we gotta start at. And then the second thing we start at is the debt. Debt is the number one threat to your financial freedom. If you're always robbing Peter to go pay Paul, but then you still gotta rob Paul to go pay back Peter, then guess who else comes in? Some guy named Uncle Sam comes in like, well, guess what? I gotta rob all y'all.
Yeah.
But you still gotta maintain that life. You see what I'm saying? So budget and debt. Debt, that's like the one thing in this day and age that we don't really focus on because we got so many people who do credit repair, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Get your credit
That's
fixed. Get your credit fixed. Go buy that car you always wanted. Spend $40,000 on a car. It's a 6-year note. Even if you had a 4% interest rate, let's say you had a 2% interest rate on a $40,000 car.
Impossible.
You're still gonna end up paying them back $50,000.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
100%.
Because it's compound interest. So they teach us in finance either you're paying someone else compound interest or you earning your own compound interest. And when you're in debt, you're paying someone else compound interest. So budget, debt. That's kind of like how I start with everybody.
I'm mad. I left my motherfucking notebook.
Man, hey, you better get
I
your
forgot.
notes.
I was so in a rush because I'm like,
Hey,
we
we about to rewind this back.
And
Like right now,
I
like
forgot my notebook. No,
every word is man speaks is literally gold.
That's
Like,
what I'm
you
saying.
know what I'm saying?
Everything he putting out right now, I'm getting certain points, but I like to write everything. I'm a
No,
visual
but guess
person.
what? You know what? You can always rewind it. But that's the beautiful thing about having a conversation. Conversations like this stick longer with you than you watching a video. See, this is actually real.
Yeah.
If you watching a video, it's not real. You can't put your hand on the video.
Right.
You can put your hand on me, so it's gonna stick with you a lot easier. Everybody that's in here right now, this is all real to them.
Yep.
Even if they're not paying attention, it's still real to them. Their brain is processing that this is real, that this is happening. Just like if someone got shot but you didn't see it, motherfucker still got shot.
Exactly.
It's still real. It's still some trauma right there. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? So this is real. It's gonna stick with you, man.
This is a deep brother. We got to get off of this, man. I'm about to really start having some real moments. Okay, let's switch it up. Me and my guy, we always have different conversations, right? And so we like, if you're on a stranded island, he changes his mind all the time. What would be your 3 movies, 3 albums? Stranded on Island.
Stranded on an island, well, that would be difficult because if I'm stranded on an island, I don't have nothing, right? I don't have no electricity, I don't have nothing. So, damn, how would I watch these movies? See, that's how I think, right?
I know.
I'm that deep. I'm
Hey,
thinking
we never thought about
Yeah,
that.
you never
Sad
said like you
fact.
had a CD player. But I figured
So now you
said
gotta
album, so it said CD player.
You're right,
you know?
but I
So
never
you
thought I
gotta-
never put that aspect into it.
figured
You know?
So my
that's why
is-
we
now,
have
hold
to
on.
go in and
Now, it might have a DVD.
No, this is what you gotta
Portable.
say. You're stranded on the island with your phone and Wi-Fi. What would be your top 3 movies and your top 3 albums? Now I got Wi-Fi. Now I can watch.
Okay,
a
you
movie
can
and
only
listen to
use
it.
the phone to listen to music and watch movies. You can't call out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got the Verizon 2011
Yeah,
before
that
this
one.
shit took off.
Yeah, the
Can you hear me
storage.
now?
Right.
That nigga, you feel me?
Yeah.
So album wise, if I had to listen to an album just over and over and over, I listen to All Eyes on Me. Just
That was one of mine.
just because it has moments of clarity, then it has moments of enjoyment, then it has moments of wonder why I call you bitch, and it's those moments that are everyday life, right? We live in a time right now where the police are brutalizing us, blacks are still killing each other, but the problem with that is that black on black crime is not really what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's because we live in close proximity, so of course the numbers look crazy, right? But white on white crime is still way more than black on black crime. But that's the time that we're living in. So if I have to be on an island, I need something like that where I could hear somebody going through their different struggles, their different enjoyments, their different passions and their different pains, and at the end of the day still can smile. So I listen to All Eyes on Me. I can't give you 2 other albums because truthfully I only listen to like R&B,
You can
Old
throw
It was
some
R&B then.
old school Marvin Gaye and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like that's kind of like what I listen
If
to.
you want to
man.
throw a Marvin Gaye's greatest hits, you can put a
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye's greatest
Marvin
hits.
Gaye's greatest hits.
You can do an artist's greatest hits.
Stevie Wonder greatest hits too.
Okay.
Just because I like listening to music. And I like listening to how the music was composed. I'm like the type of person who listen to a song like, damn, what did he write first? Did he write the chorus first with the melody first? Like, because I own a publishing company, so I listen to music and I listen to it for those intricate parts of the song. And I grew up around music, so that's what I kind of like.
See me, I don't want to interject, but when I think about when people say Stevie Wonder and writing something,
See, this
I
is-
think about it a different because I don't see
back-
no
so
line
back to the
reading
publishing,
and writing.
So back to the publishing aspect of
Because I always
music.
think about it.
Do you realize the harmony is written? So he could be blind coming up with a harmony and a melody. That's actually written.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to physically write something, but da da da. He's writing that.
You put me in the game.
Yeah. So when you once again, that's that publishing aspect of it. So if my songwriter didn't produce the beat, but he came up with the melody. Guess what? He owned 10% of that song because the whole production is around that one melody.
Right.
So
You put me up on game.
yeah, that's writing credit.
What's your 3 movies?
3 movies.
3 movies: Gladiator, Friday, and The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, so I could watch Gladiator.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking leaving.
Yeah, I could watch Gladiator.
I like all those.
I could watch that any
Boy,
day.
it's your turn.
Yeah.
Boy, it's your
I remember going to see Friday in 1994 or 5, one of those years, right? But I remember going to see that and just thinking this is the funniest shit ever, you know.
It
And
was.
I can
It
still
was,
watch
still
it
is, though.
and
Right.
still just be like around here between Normandy and West Street. They call this a little. It's like, but that's at that age I didn't realize what he was talking about. Now I know. Oh, he was talking about this dove. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss
Yeah.
Parker. Oh, he about to go sleep with the. Oh.
Yeah.
As a kid, you just seeing it from a visual standpoint and just it sounds funny. But now as an adult, it's like, man, that's really what happens growing up in the hood on a Friday. You know, like somebody gonna get robbed because it's hot outside. Somebody owes somebody some money. That's happening. There's always somebody begging because they need to go they need some money to go buy some drugs or some cigarettes.
That's every day.
Yeah, it happens every day. You know, shootings. That's literally what happens
Every
in
day,
the hood.
yeah.
So, you know. Yeah, so Friday for sure. And then The Wolf of Wall Street just because it's a business it's a movie that shows you how all you gotta do is just work hard. And whatever you do, you're gonna be successful. You could sell water to a well if you could get that well to think that this is the best water though, man. I know you've been swimming in that ocean, but have you swam in that ocean over here?
Right.
This is the ocean you really need to be in. And it showed someone who was at the top, lost it, and just got it all back. I like those stories when you can see someone lose it, get it back. Now, even though it was kind of like, wasn't all the way legit, but it's like, I seen people make it and then lose it and never make it back. And just become the new unk on the block. And it's like, damn, man, I remember when you had it all, man.
Right.
Now you lost it. Damn, you went to jail, you came, damn. Ain't got no plan. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Right.
he had a plan. So, yeah.
100%. That's a list I haven't heard of it before neither. That's what makes it like.
I feel like
more-
I
it's
changed
it's
up on
unique.
Friday. I feel like I said Friday, but
I think
Ain't nobody seen no Gladiator, though.
Initial.
Ain't nobody-
No, Gladiator, definitely not.
It's never been said.
no, yeah,
So
those,
that's why it's-
I like those. I like those a lot. Those are real good.
But when you were when you was talking about the albums, you touched on the dynamic and landscape of what's going on in our country right now. So I just want you to, because pretty much this episode and what we're doing is just giving games to everybody that we do. That's what we do with our podcast in general. So just if you can, just tell us some for the next generation. I'm pretty sure you probably do this for your kids. Tell us what challenges they can face, the next generation, and then some advice that you can give to them.
Well, you know, the challenges that they are potentially going to face is that what's going on right now, a lot of the children, I mean, y'all are not children, but the young people are, really speaking up, right? They're really trying to, capture their voice, and they're using action behind it. The problem that I see happen is that with all this action, they're not going to have no contingency plans for once the action gets implemented now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, now what you going to be angry about? And the problem with most of the young people, and I see we got some young people in here right now.
Shout out.
And no offense, young people, But these are the same young people who don't want nobody in their business, but in everybody's business. You see what I'm saying? Just imagine when they become adults and they're gonna be like that. Now you're gonna have punk ass attitudes for no reason. You see what I'm saying? So I think the thing that the children or the next generation not gonna really be prepared for is having a contingency plan to really get along. You see what I'm saying? Because once you're done fighting, now how you gonna love?
Right.
See, I grew up having fights with my friends and still loving them. They grow up having fights with their friends and I don't fuck with them no more.
Right.
Now they gonna grow up become adults when they ain't got nobody they can fuck with. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So how they gonna now have all this action and all this rah, but they don't get along with none of the people they had to protest with? I told some of my homies, I said, you don't go to protest by yourself. You go to protest with 10 people.
Right.
So if something happened to one, it's 9 other of us right there. Ain't nobody gonna attack one person when there's 9 people right there with them. But if you go with your girl, you for sure gonna get fucked up. You go with your friends who's scary, ain't about that life, you gonna for sure get fucked up. And it's like these young people don't have a sense of team. They don't have a sense of brotherhood. That's my bitch. They call each other bros and stuff, but they don't understand, man. They don't understand a real bro will tell you not to do something when you're doing something wrong.
100%.
That's a real bro. That's a real friend because you want to see them going the right way. Now sometimes you're gonna do things that you just gotta let them do that by themselves.
Yeah.
Don't go be a part of that, right? You see what I'm saying? But most of these young people don't have that, right?
Yeah.
You know, they get into a petty argument and go online and talk about they don't fuck with this person no more. I grew up, it's like, we didn't do that, man.
Right.
Like, you used to run your mouth, you used to get beat up. Like we live in a day and age where everybody just want to talk shit about everybody, but then they don't want to take ownership of their own shit. So I think that's the one issue that most of these young people are going to face when they become adults is that they're not going to have no real teammates. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have a podcast because y'all teammates, right? You see what I'm saying? He feeds off of you, you feed off of him. That's a team. But most of these young people ain't going to have that because they're going to burn too many bridges off of some petty stuff. Like,
100%.
hella petty stuff. So, yeah.
I agree with
That's kind of like my
everything
take on that.
No, I agree with everything you're saying. And
This
then
dude's
you
deep.
you touched on the aspect of team, and then people saying that it's not your real friend if they don't tell you something wrong. Because this one of my guys, that's one of my guys, that's one of my guys, and there's no hesitation to say, hey bro,
man,
you doing this, like, just don't do this. You shouldn't be doing that wrong. And there's no offense to it. Or if it is, it's like if it is, it's a quick moment of like, you say something and then you might step away for a minute and then after that you jump right back into it. Hey bro, my fault, I took that the wrong way. It ain't no pride, there's no ego into it. So that's how you can really differentiate what's like, who's solid, who like, you know what I mean? Cause I'm sure you can attest to it. That's just how he is.
Yeah.
I say it's a blessing every time
Absolutely.
to be fortunate to have the friends that I have in my life. Even though I got 3 other brothers, you know them, and even though I have them, it's just good to have somebody outside of your family that look like you, come from what you come from, and don't sugarcoat shit.
And that's
what we do a lot.
And that's kind of like what these young people are missing is that they look for their friends to be their inspirations. And I'm like, dude, how you gonna have someone who's 16, 17 as an inspiration? You know they gonna fuck up, right? So when they fuck up, how you gonna react to that, right? You see what I'm saying? They don't got nobody that's a mentor. See, so I do mentoring as well, and it's funny because most men need mentors. I'm a grown ass man. I got a grown ass mentor as well. I got a woman mentor in business. And I got men mentors, and I also mentor people. It's like these young people don't want nobody who will impart wisdom on them unless it's at their own accordance. Like, oh, I only want advice when I want it.
Yeah.
They don't just want somebody pouring into them, and that's a problem because their minds, what they are, they got too much access to shit that's just irrelevant, like social media. I'm not saying don't have fun and stuff like that, but it's like you pour more of that into you than some real shit that got some substance into you, and that's what these young people are growing up with. They're growing up with flat soda, and they drinking that versus getting some water. Some shit that's gonna hydrate them, you know what I'm saying? They much rather drink some flat soda because it tastes good versus drinking some cold water on a hot sunny day. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Look,
Word up.
I'm like, for me, I don't know about him right now. I'm really enjoying this. I'm soaking up literally everything you're saying right now is things I heard before, but it's also other things that I haven't really, picked up from people. And like I said, we didn't get all this type of game. But you speaking on the financial aspect is something that you clearly sound like you're passionate about. something that she really loves to do. So just if you can answer this question for me, outside of the financial consulting, financial coaching, and other things you do as far as finances is concerned, tell me 3 things you are ultra passionate about outside of that.
My family. Because earlier I asked somebody what's their why, and I only do everything I do for my family. Like everything that I'm setting a foundation for, I'm not gonna get to reap all the benefits. I'm gonna reap some of them, but my sons, my daughters, they're gonna reap all the benefits. You know, my son, my 9-year-old son, could tell you what debt means. He could tell you what stock means. He could tell you what taxes mean, and not just tell you what the definitions, but he could apply real life examples to them. Because just think about a 9-year-old who learns about debt, interest, and loans. By the time he's 18, when he get that credit card that says 24.99% interest, he's gonna know exactly what that means. So if I spend $100, I'm gonna get, and I don't pay it back in time, I'm about to get him $124 back. Oh, so he knows that already. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I hate to just say family.
No,
but
so
everything.
there's still 3 passions.
Everything, cause like if I could have a job. But I love the fact that when schools were open, I could take my son to school every single day and pick him up every single day. Like for me, that was the most joyous thing because I knew every day, no matter what his day was like, he was gonna see his father going, he's gonna see his father coming home. You see what I'm saying? And most children don't grow up being able to see their parents pick them up or drop them off. You see? I mean, at some point he's gonna probably get old enough where he's like, Dad, you know what? He's 9 years old. He enjoys it. You see what I'm saying? But for me, it's like that's kind of like what I do it for, man. At the end of the day,
100%. I love it. I'm loving everything you're saying right now.
Oh, this man's going to make me get ready to shed a tear right now, bro. Real talk. Shout out to this man right here.
My bad, I'm side busting the word.
No, hey, you here with us? We got a Jew out here, man. Come on.
But what adversity did you hit that inspired to be? You know, like what made you who you are? What adversity? What point in your life?
I had a child at 17. My daughter was born 24 days after my 17th birthday, and it's funny because I didn't want to tell my mom I was about to have a child. Listen, first of all, I didn't find out I was going to have a child till the woman, the young lady was already 7 months pregnant. But I didn't. Once I got the news and found out the person how my mom raised me, the story. It happened like it was yesterday, man. The girl's mother called me and was like, "Yeah, can I speak to Mrs. Burton?" And I'm like, "Oh, my mom's not here. What business is this pertaining to, right? You know, my mom raised me right. I'm trying to find out why you want to speak to my mom." Right. And she was like, "Is this Arthur?" It's like, "Yes." And she was like, "Oh, this is Joanne." I was like, "Oh, hey. Oh, what's her name, Mom?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How's she doing?" She was like, "She's doing fine." Because I wasn't like dating the girl, so it was like, you know. So she was like, "Yeah, she's about to have a baby. She's 7 months pregnant." And I was like, "Oh, for real?" I was like, "That's cool." And I was like, "You want to meet?" And she's like, "Sure." So that's kind of like how that went. And then it's a even more interesting story because the girl's mother wanted to give my daughter up for adoption because we were both young, and she was like, you know, this is gonna affect you guys' abilities to go to school and so on and so forth. And as a 16-year-old, I'm like, I'm thinking about all those things, but didn't go through with it, obviously, right? Yeah. And then my daughter was born, and I knew at that moment, well, my mom eventually found out that I was about to have a child. My mom said, "Hey, I raised you right. I know you're gonna do the right thing," and she just walked out my room. Well, most parents would be, "Oh, why, getting on me?" Like, I had cousins who got on me, made me cry and everything. And to this day, every time he see me, he always apologized because look what I became, right? And so for me, it had everything to do with becoming a father at such a young age. And we live in a day and age where a man would tell us, a boy, like, "Oh, you having a child? Don't have a child at a young age." And da-da-da. I'm not saying have a child at a young age, but when shit happens, man, you step the fuck up, basically, right? That goes with anything in life. You lose your parent at a young age, yeah, mourn. But get the fuck up and go on with your life. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to, because ain't nobody else gonna take care of you. You see what I'm saying? So for me, that's kind of like what my mindset was. And then by the time I was 19, the mothers completely just stepped out my daughter's life. So I was a single father to a girl at age 19. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I always wanted more anyway. That just kind of like sped up the process. You see what I'm saying?
So mindset,
yeah, man. Like I hate seeing when men be having all these baby mama dramas, and I don't want to spend too much time here, but I always tell my friends, I said, the only reason you having drama is because you're playing both sides of the coin. Like, you don't want to be with the woman, but yet you want to have all the benefits of being in a relationship with a woman. So when you keep doing that to her, eventually she's going to be scorned. So then she's going to be like, nah, you can't. She's going to do all those things. Like for me, we didn't go through no course systems. 1 week you have her, 1 week I have her. We didn't have to go to course to, agree on that, but it had everything to do with me as a man.
Yeah.
I was a 17-year-old boy, already a man, establishing like, hey, no, this is what we're going to do. 1 week you have her, 1 week I have her. Nothing else to talk about. I don't care what you got going on. This is what was going to happen. I was 19 trying to go off to school in Texas. My mom called me like, hey, she ain't been picking up your daughter. You need to come back home. I came back home. And that's what it was. But a lot of the men who have all these baby mama dramas and stuff like that, they didn't establish themselves as men in that relationship. Not being like, oh, she got to be submissive, but setting some real parameters that are easy for her to get along with, easy for you to get along. Like teamwork. But everybody want to be like these enemies. Like, oh, nah.
This is my child.
Yeah. Because most men have had a child for 2 days out of the week and be complaining about having to pay child support. Well, but nigga, if you had a child and then she had a child for a week, then you equally taking the responsibility. But 2 days ain't equally 2 days out of a month is not taking equal responsibility. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? See, those are things I never have to worry about because when her mother or her family was trying to cause all this type of drama, I didn't argue with them. I always tell them, I said, I don't argue with women. Go get a dude to come argue with me. They could never do that. So it was nothing to argue about. You see, so I was establishing myself as a man saying that, hey, I'm not getting into arguments with women that are not my mom, not my sister. I wasn't doing that. But I said, go get a man to come argue with me. Because then I knew at that point I could at least beat him up or have a fight. I could at least have some aggression to take out in the event that it got to that point. I'm not doing that with no woman. So why am I going to argue with a woman? Like, and that's kind of like my whole thought process. My mom said, man, don't argue with women. You walk away from women when they want to argue. Yeah. So that's what I did. They used to call me talking crap. I just hang up the phone. Yeah. Like
it's a transfer of masculine energy in a positive way. It ain't. You don't gotta do nothing crazy. Put your hands on her like that. That's the weak way of doing it. If any man listening and watching, you don't put your hand on a woman. That's a lose-lose. That's a lose-lose. Exactly. Yeah. So but
what's some quick tips you would give to the young fathers? For financially and for
man, just number one, be there, right? Because it's easier to be there, and it's more of an investment into that child being there because the child will grow up having your presence, right? It's sort of like a mom is raising a child in the womb, right? So they have this relationship with the child automatically, whereas most fathers don't have no type of connection besides that's my child. Right. You see what I'm saying? So most fathers, when the child is born, they don't build no physical connection. So one of the things that I learned at an early age being a father is that you gotta have that skin-to-skin contact, right? Because a woman has that automatically, right? So this is why it was so easy for me to be able to step into a role because it became natural now. Because I actually was present with a child, not just watching a child, but I was present with that child. That child would fall asleep on my chest. It was a connection at that point. You see what I'm saying? And I think for her mom, she kind of like missed out on that because she had a C-section. So the first 30 days of my child's life, she stayed with me because her mother wanted to heal. So she missed out on 30 days. Just think about how many men miss out on those first 30 days of a child's life and can never have a connection now. Why the child always crying? The child like, you ain't got no connection. You see what I'm saying? So being there is probably way better than your finances because if you're a young parent, you ain't got no money. You still living off your mom. You see what I'm saying? Or your father. You like. So for me, it's just being there. As long as you be there, other things will start to click. You see what I'm saying? It's just a natural progression, right? If you're not there, you're absent-minded, you're playing video games, you're playing with your friends, you're doing all those other things, then you ain't gonna have no progression. Being with that child is gonna allow you to start to progress. You see what I'm saying? And that's why mothers produce milk. You see what I'm saying? Because they're having a baby, their body is changing, it's natural progression. You see what I'm saying? So same thing with a young father, you just gotta be there. Everything else will start to fall into place like dominoes.
That's a good question.
This nigga big six over here, man, straight out.
That was a great question, man.
Yeah, him being a father, that was a great question for him. I don't have kids, so I don't really. I like to soak up the game when he has his conversations with other parents. Because I don't got it yet, but when I do, I know now because I done learned it, I done heard it. You know what I'm saying? I done seen it visually, and I see that you're doing what you say you did.
And nothing like tugging that baby, that car seat, nothing like that. You
Oh,
get in the
man.
hospital, you get that scared.
Hey, you know what? You know what?
Moments, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
The scariest part of bringing home a newborn is the car seat. Like,
Speak!
are they in there? On the
Right.
Is it too
Did
tight?
I hear the click?
Cause the baby like this big, but the car seat like that.
Right.
They gonna fall out. Okay, somebody sit in the back and just hold the car seat so it don't move too much. It's like all those things, and then it's like a child throwing up. They can't get it out. I was like, oh, I can't do nothing. I mean, when my daughter did it the first time, she was about 4 years old. She was throwing up and she started choking. And I couldn't do nothing. You know, like I'm trying to help her out, but it's like those are things of being a parent. It's like you're literally not in control of certain situations. This is why it's so important for the young people to have brotherhood, sisterhood, right? Because your parents are not gonna always be there for some of your most trying times. You see what I'm saying? But if you got shitty ass friends for your shitty ass times, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna have shitty ass results. You see what I'm saying? And then you're not gonna take those shitty ass results to your parents because you're gonna feel embarrassed. So young people today, if you're having shitty ass results at school or whatever, take them shitty ass results to your parents. Or to somebody else that you love and trust who could give you some advice that's gonna allow you to get through that shitty situation. Not your punk ass friends. And I always say punk ass friends because my daughter, who's now about to be 22, she's like, why you always call my friends punk ass friends and stuff like that? And I'm like, I said, there's nothing wrong. I said, it's not me saying something mean about them, but it's like, y'all still little punk ass children. Like, y'all trying to get y'all punk ass lives together. So it's like, it's no doubt. It's like, they want to be adults, but y'all still relying on us. Like, you know what I'm saying? So how you want to be an adult, but everything you got, we paying for.
Tough love, man.
You know? So, yeah, nah, y'all punk ass friends, man.
All right, so I want to get back into the
Johnson.
financial part of things because being a college student, you fall into debt and things like that. Taking out certain loans, some grants you have to pay back at times. It just depends on what it is. But can you tell us exactly like the different types of debt and then like good ways to get out of it?
So first things first is recognizing if it's a good debt or a bad debt. Because there's a such thing as good debt. Bad debt is one of those debts that are never going to appreciate, right? So bad debt would be buying a new car, right? And that you got to finance for 6 to 7 years, right? As soon as you buy the car, the value of it immediately starts to decrease. So the money that you're paying for is no longer the value of the thing you bought. So that's obviously a no-brainer bad debt, right? So student loans, right? That could be a bad debt and a good debt, right? Because if you get a student loan, because I know people who make a whole lot of good money but still got $100,000 worth of student debt. And I'm like, you in your 50s and you still got $100,000 worth of student debt? Because student loan debt is sort of like a mortgage, right? And what I mean by that is that compound interest, and they want you to pay that minimum, and you fine with that minimum, but it's like you're gonna be paying that minimum until you die. And the problem with that type of debt is that most people don't have a strategy. I helped a client a few weeks ago, and I think she had about $7,000 a month worth of debt. That was going from like mortgages, loans, cards, credit cards, so on and so forth. So at her current rate at how she was paying for everything, it said it'd take her until she was about 67 years old to pay it off. She's only 39. So she got real comfortable with the idea that I'm gonna be paying this stuff forever. She sat down with me. I put together a debt strategy program for her. It showed her how she could pay all those debts off in 4.5 years. Do you think she was happy now? Because she has an actual plan, and that's kind of like the issue with debt. That's kind of like the issue with finance and literacy and things like that. People don't have plans. They just winging it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to have a business partner, and we used to go out. And we never had plans. I said, dude, every time we go out, winging it is expensive, man.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the same thing that happened with your finances. Like, winging is gonna be real expensive when you're 50 years old and you realize you only got $17,000 saved away for retirement because you've been winging it, you've been having fun. I meet clients all the time who are in their 50s and 60s who wanna retire, and I'm thinking, Birdman hand rub. Like, they got some money, like, okay, I'm about to do a little.
Right.
And then you look at the non-existing portfolios, like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, they're not gonna be able to retire in the 5 years that they want to retire because she got $9,000. But yet she wants to retire. So it's kind of like, that's where that debt comes into play. Like, as long as you paying off bad debt, you gonna be a prisoner to that debt forever. The goal is to have good debt, like owning a property, right? It's gonna be your largest investment is owning a house or a building, whatever the case may be. But that's typically the form of good debt. Bad debt in that scenario is when you have a property and you get an equity line of credit out. That's bad debt. You know why? It's only good if you're gonna use that equity line to make improvements to sell the house. Most people take equity out to go buy a car. So now you take an equity out to go buy something that you're gonna finance. So now you have a new car note, an equity line that you gotta pay back, and your mortgage, and all your regular bills. But your pay didn't go up. So now how are you gonna now maintain paying for all this stuff? So one of those things is gonna always go.
Sorry to cut you off, but for the average listener, a lot of people don't know what equity means. So kind of dumb it down as much as you can, dig into you back because a lot of people don't know what that word.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm just being real. I'm just trying to give everybody that's listening and watching as much game as they can possibly
the
take
simplest way to explain what equity is just something you own. Okay, that's just if you had a pie and you took one slice of that pie, that's your equity. Okay, so it's just a piece that you own, right? So for example, when a house builds up, the house has one value, but then it has something in excess of that value. And then people access a loan to get that excess value, and that becomes ownership. So they take an equity line of credit on that additional portion. I know we got a real estate guy in here. Yeah. He could probably give you a better, but I think that's probably like the easiest way to kind of like explain it.
I just wanted to make sure listeners just getting it. That's all.
Yeah. But it's just basically like taking another line of credit out on something that you don't necessarily have. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you get credit because you don't have the money to buy something, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that we're getting credit on things and we're using credit to buy the wrong things. We're buying things that depreciate, right? Versus buying things that are going to appreciate in value, right? So that's kind of like the issue right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So what was the original question was about?
It was pretty much good ways to get out of debt and some advice that
okay,
you
so
can give someone to get out.
Number one is just having a strategy. And everything I'm talking about, I help people with this stuff free. And people are like, man, how much you charge for? And unfortunately, the position I'm in, I can't really charge people for advice per se. And I'm really trying to explore my option in terms of, do I only want to work with clients that have to pay me a fee? Or do I want to keep helping my people? Because right now, if you need me to do like a debt strategy program for you, I do that stuff for free. Because I know if I help you get out of debt now and I show you how to become an investor, it's a lot easier for you to become an investor. You see what I'm saying? But if you're in debt, how you gonna now be trying to invest? I mean, you could do it simultaneously, but then it all starts with you looking in the mirror and be like, damn, I spend money here, and this thing ain't bringing me nothing. Let me stop doing that and redirect this money here. You see what I'm saying? It's just little small changes, small sacrifices that help people get out of debt. You know, I remember my wife and I, we had bought a vehicle, and this is before I even like really dialed in financial literacy, but I realized how interest worked. So what we did was we paid the first car note when it was due. Then immediately after that, like literally like about 10 days later, we sent in another payment, which was half the car note. But what we were doing in essence was outpacing the interest, right? Because it takes 30 days to accrue. This is why the interest keeps staying there and not going away. So all we were doing was just outpacing it. So instead of it getting 30 days to accrue, it only got 10 days to accrue. So we just kept doing it. So a car that was going to take us 5 years to pay off, we paid it off in 2 years. All because we was outpacing the interest, so the interest couldn't accumulate as quickly. You see what I'm saying? It's just small things like that. They don't. If you know how interest works, and it literally tells you the daily interest is $8 or $10. So if you know between each payment, $10 of interest is 30 days between each payment. That's easy math right there. 10 times 30. You see what I'm saying? So it's just things like that. That's why when you first get a loan, so much of it goes towards the interest versus going towards the principal. So what we were doing in essence was outpacing the interest so more of the money could go to the principal. So if the principal is getting reduced, then the interest amount on that principal is not going to be as high as it was when it started off. $50,000 car with 5% interest looks a whole lot different than a $40,000 car with that same 5% interest. So we were just outpacing the interest, man. So.
You soaking this shit up? I'm soaking this shit up.
This dude is so deep. Oh man, thank you. You just giving me so many drops.
Check this out though.
I'm sponge right now. I'm living a sponge.
Hey, check this out though. You know the minimum payments on your credit card, you can still pay the minimum, but just think if you sent the minimum in a week beforehand. 2 weeks beforehand. Even if you just broke that down, you see what I'm saying? You're still outpacing the interest. Because the interest takes days to accumulate. That's why they say, hey, pay this minimum in this 30 days, and you good. You see what I'm saying? But just imagine you just pay that minimum in 15 days. You see, you just kept doing it. Every 15 days, I'm just sending in the minimum. I don't care. You're going to outpace them. You see what I'm saying? The goal, they want you to take your time to pay them back. Right. So you could be a prisoner, you could be enslaved to them for a longer period of time, just like your student loan. Send in the minimum, you're good. No, you don't need to send in no extra payment. Send in the minimum, you're good. 30 years later, why my stuff still $100,000? You've been sending in the minimum.
I hope y'all paying attention to everything that's going on for the viewers that's watching, because a lot of times y'all listen to people that's already successful or already done made the money that they already done got to, or continuously making money, millions of dollars. That's the type of people you only listen to. You don't listen to somebody that looks like you. Not to say that he's on the level that we are, because mentally and financially he's more intelligent than I am. Pretty sure. I don't know. Okay,
keep going.
Understand that you have to take game from whoever it is, especially him being older than me. I'm listening to everything that he's saying. Him being in a different realm that I'm making sure I'm looking in the camera, I'm looking in your soul. I'm making sure that you understand what I'm saying. Him being older than me, him being in a different realm that I'm in, I'm taking in the game from what he's telling me. I'm not fighting it or nothing. A lot of y'all look at shit, see jewelry, see little shit, and you think that mean wealth. That don't mean a damn thing. You feel me? Yes, I might have some on. This shit ain't real. This is. But this ain't real. See, it's just wearing it. I know what to do with my money. I know what not to do with it. That's what I done learned over the last 2 years. I don't need to put my money towards certain shit to look a certain way. Because if I know I got it, I'm straight. He ain't got on a motherfucking watch. I mean, he got on a watch, my bad. He don't got on no other jewelry.
$35, man.
No big ice chain, none of that shit that y'all be walking around with $10,000, $20 chain. He go put that towards some shit that's gonna appreciate. He gonna put a down payment on something.
Yeah, true.
But I had to deflect, because that's something that you know what? You take the next question.
But hold on.
Drink of water.
He said the realest thing ever, though, because the one thing he pointed to that's real is gold. Not diamonds, because diamonds take away from the value of the gold.
Absolutely.
So if you're going to buy jewelry, you buy gold.
Straight up.
Not buy gold and then ice it out.
Exactly.
You just lost the value of your gold.
Exactly.
Man, this man speaks so much damn truth. Okay,
ahead,
me and my guy.
I got to deflate. Give me 20 seconds.
Deflate, but we my guy. We always have these discussions. And so we always like to ask our guests, two people, dead or alive, you would like to, you paying, but I know that ain't nothing though, but two people you would like to have lunch with, 2 to 3.
Ooh. I'm going to be honest.
Dead or alive?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not really inspired by anybody that's dead or alive. Everybody I'm inspired by that's alive, I can touch. So that's not an issue, right?
Okay.
So, and there's no one dead that I feel like, oh man, I need to just sit down with that person, because I place value on the people that's already in my life versus somebody. It's because I look at it, and I know you asking for the context of the show, right? But it's arbitrary, right? It's like
keep going.
I don't want to meet no Martin Luther King. I don't want to meet no Malcolm X, because depending on what year I met Malcolm X, I might not have liked him. You see what I'm saying? Because he wasn't always Malcolm X. Like, so for me, it's like the people who are alive that I could touch. Those are the people I want to constantly have lunch with. Like, I'd rather have lunch with you two versus lunch with Martin Luther King, because
I appreciate that. You paying for it,
appreciate
though.
that.
It's all good, because we can go to I heard somebody say they like In-N-Out burgers.
I don't eat burgers.
Okay. We can go to Just Crackin' then. So there it is, man.
Shout out.
There we go. We can go to Just Crackin'. But nah, I value this more than meeting someone famous, man, because like, I grew up in the hood, man. So for me, I'm not impressed by money. I'm not impressed by stature, because I seen people who was really getting it. You know what I'm saying? And I seen them lose it and never made it back. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not impressed by that, but I'm more impressed by people who are trying. I'm more impressed by the two young men that's right there trying to do this, right?
Shout out to Blitz!
Because at the end of the day, they doing something out of passion. They're not making no money. Well, even if they are making some money, it ain't gonna move a needle, right? You know, it's not gonna allow them to change their lives. But they're doing something that they're passionate about. So they let their passion fuel them. So many people want to be fueled by money. So many people want to be fueled by status. And when none of that shit is there, what's gonna fuel you? This is why people turn to drinking. This is why people have mental issues, because the only thing that can fill them is shit that's not tangible. This shit right here is real. So that's why I'm like, nah, I don't need somebody dead. I don't want to go to a Prince concert. Nah, I'm cool. You see what I'm saying?
With the ass out.
Nah, man, but Prince is a hell of an artist. But for me, I'd much rather sit down with the Lindsays. You see what I'm saying? I much go sit down with my partners. I much rather pour into them than pour into me, versus someone who was on a different level who could pour into me that I probably can't even apply what they poured into me. So it's just gonna go to waste. So that's kind of that's just kind of like how I look at it. This is right here is more valuable than me meeting with somebody dead or alive that I did.
Man, you already deflated from that. I know, man. That brought me up. Keep going.
It did, but at the same, that wasn't the answer I was expecting. I really was expecting you to throw out somebody or somebody just in the financial realm and maybe a famous broker or a stock trader, somebody. That's just what I was thinking. You feel me? But you know,
because I'm not passionate by their successes. That don't fill me. What fills me is making sure that my children had clothes on their back, roof over their head, and food in their stomach.
100%.
So none of the shit that they doing, like what they say, what you eat don't make me shit. So
and that ties back to you saying family.
That's why I much rather go to Just Crackin' and eat the food, because it's gonna make me shit. One way or another, it's gonna make me shit. But guess what?
All that motherfucking butter you put.
Yeah, but guess what? But guess what I'm doing? I'm redistributing my finances to another black-owned business, so his family can have a roof over their head, clothes on their back, and food in their belly. So that's kind of like when I'm motivated by that shit. You see what I'm saying? I'm not motivated by meeting no Jay-Z. Like, okay, what's up, my nigga? You know, because I've been in rooms with them, so it's not like it is what it is. You know, I've been in rooms with Snoop Dogg and all these people, but at the end of the day, I always felt like I was the most important person in that room. You see what I'm saying? Because your wealth shouldn't dictate your mental wealth, and that's the problem with some of these young people. They see people online, they see these social media people, like everybody a model, everybody a public figure, right? But at some point, that shit gonna dry up. Like, have you ever asked yourself, what happens to the stripper when she's 50? Does she have a retirement plan? You see what I'm saying?
I never thought about it.
But no, we don't think about that, because
I never thought about it.
we looking at the light of it, right? And it's all about phases. When you're in the entertainment industry, it's all about phases, right? You're in an accumulation phase between 3 to 5 years where you're gonna make the most money ever, right? Every football player, they say their max career is 3 years, right? Or 2.5 years now, because shit getting cut back, right?
And then depending on position too, that's shortens.
Right. So just think about that. That's the most money they're gonna ever make, ever, in 2 years. So now you got to live off of that for the next 40 years of your life. How the hell are you going to accomplish that? So think about all these social media famous people. Even look at the little boy Ryan with the YouTube channel, right? He's making millions of dollars. Eventually, he ain't going to be popular no more.
Right.
And
not always gonna be a little boy.
he ain't going to always be a little boy. And they doing more things with his family and stuff. Little boy voice changing and shit. It's like, it's rough. Now they trying to bring his sister in, and it's like, They got something. But see, the thing about that though, it's a system. Yeah. It's a system that they're gonna receive money for the rest of their life, right? Stripper ain't gonna receive money for the rest of her life. A social media famous person ain't gonna. Hell, most of y'all favorite artists ain't gonna receive money for the rest of their life. I started a publishing.
Most of them ain't getting it now.
I mean, they getting a little something, but I started a publishing company for the simple fact that I'm gonna get paid for the rest of my life off of it. I can literally look into my BMI right now and know every 3 months I'm getting a direct deposit without even being a famous music star or anything like that. And but see, that's all about
mailbox money.
That's all about me understanding the importance of residual income. Like, residual income is not being self-employed, because if you're self-employed, that means you only eat what you kill. Owning a business allows you to have residual income, because guess what? When Cork is not at Just Crackin', is it still running and operating?
Absolutely.
It's a business. It's not self-employed at that point. But if he had to be there every day cooking, he's not he has no freedom. Business allows you to have freedom. Yep. Everybody who's a barber has no freedom, because if they ain't cutting hair, guess what they ain't doing? They ain't making no money. Boom, here comes a pandemic. Now you can't even cut hair. So now what people doing? I'm cutting hair everywhere I want to cut hair. Now barbers want to charge more money now because a pandemic. Guess what's going to happen when things get back to normal? Shit going to change. That's why the state of California is already trying to change that business model, because they's tired of having all these barbers being self-employed. They need to be employee-employer relationship. And if that happens, well, guess what now? Now they got to receive a paycheck. So now these business owners who own a barbershop now have to actually start running a business.
Right.
It's gonna be a lot of real estate. It's gonna be a lot of real estate coming available at these barbershops. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they gonna flub it, and they're not gonna want to change their program.
Yeah.
Hair salons had to change their program. A lot of these barbers don't want to do it because barbers are just a whole bunch of, I don't want to use that word, but they're just a whole bunch of dudes just trying to, man.
Niggas with male ego. You can say niggas with male ego.
Yeah, that too.
Said this is the
that too,
authentic podcast.
But just check this out, man.
Shout out to
How many barbers do you know who bought property, right? Before you answer that, but just think about it.
I don't know none.
Okay,
So
well,
I can answer it already.
I don't know a lot either, right? But they typically gotta have a girl, they typically gotta have a wife who have a job because there's actual reported income. So barbers be doing a lot of disservice to themselves because they don't want to report their income. You know? It's just
Speaking of something you already said, I wish my motherfucking barber would go up on his prices.
Hey,
Stay
man.
at $20, nigga.
Cats is cutting
Hey,
hair for
man,
They
hey,
can
shout
cut
out
hair for
real,
$100,
Hey,
man.
I got you.
If
We
mine
got
go
a
up,
price
mine
tag,
go
bro.
up, I'm going to
paying
barber
what I
school.
got, bro, and it's usually more.
Mine go up, I'm going to barber school.
But see, that's economics right there. If they had a business in place where it runs whether they're there or not, they have more freedom. They wouldn't have to do that. They can actually lower their prices. You see what I'm saying? But I can't tell a barber how to run their business. You know, that's not my job. You know, but I look at barbers and like, damn, you gonna be cutting hair in your 60s, 70s? What's your plan? Like, what is your retirement plan? So that brings me back to the strippers. That brings me back to the social media and all these people who got 100,000 fans and they modeling and they doing this and doing that. It's a cycle, man. Somebody new gonna come along and replace you. You're not gonna be as popular. They ain't gonna do more things for some change. And it's not the glamour that people think it is.
100%. Before we go forward, we gotta pay some bills real quick. Shout out to Trademark and
Shout out
Copyright
Trademark.
for allowing us to use this space.
Celebrity.
That's one thing. Second, shout out one of our sponsors we have. We got them rolling in slowly but surely, just cracking. Located Pittsburgh, California, 1291 East Leland Road. Shout out to them. Black-owned business, seafood to go. Chef specials every Tuesday. I particularly like to get the garlic noodles with shrimp. But you can go in there and get your crab boil, some cheese bread, whatever else that you like. Shout out also to Blitz Team Visuals with the Z at the end on the visuals. Blitz Team Visuals on Instagram. They're doing all our recording. Ern, Sir, Jay, Trey. Appreciate y'all man for coming out. Mike, you got?
And what would be the number one advice you have for the barbers and the strippers then?
Number one advice for them, the money you're not reporting, you better start investing it. You know, that's pretty much they better start investing it because you always hear the story how most women who want to strip because they want to go to nursing school and stuff like that. But how do you go from fast money to making slow money? And not only making slow money, but then working 12-hour shifts. You think about it. I'm a stripper for majority of my 20s, and I'm only working a few hours. And the other few hours, I'm partying, drinking, and having fun. But now you want me to be a nurse? This is why most of them don't go to that field. This is why most of them just max it out. Like, just think about it. Who say he's 29, right? And it's like, in 10 years from now, the hottest stripper, the hottest whatever, they gonna be 39, right? They gonna be in their 30s. Their lives are not gonna look the same. And it's like, we gonna know exactly what they was doing with their money 10 years from now. Because social media ain't going nowhere. So we gonna know, and we gonna be able to shit on like, oh, look at her now, look what she doing now. And I hate that we live in a society that when people don't turn out to be as successful as they once was, that people want to make fun of them. But that's what we do, because strippers do it all the time. Look at all this money, look at the bag, I'm getting the bag, and watch what's gonna happen when you don't have the bag. So I always try to tell people, it's not about getting the bag, it's about learning how to manufacture your own bag. Because when you can manufacture a bag, that means you can keep doing it. You see, you ain't got to go chase it. You can keep creating it, right? Just Cracking is a manufactured bag because no matter what, people gonna order some food and he ain't got to be there. That's how you manufacture a bag. If you got to go get the bag, break your leg. You can't go chase the bag no more. You see what I'm saying? Get incarcerated. You ain't chasing no bags. You see what I'm saying? So it's like all the things that people are doing to get these bags, they're living life on the edge. Like, I know too many people who in the streets who ain't got no pivot game. And what I mean by pivot game is like, they could go here, they could go there. All they could do is this. And once that stops, then what? Once they're not the hottest no more, then what? You see what I'm saying? They can't even pivot.
Don't last forever, so
They can't pivot, and it's like, goes back to my brother. as a young man making $20,000 a week in his early 20s. And it's like, just imagine if he was just buying property in the city at that age in the 90s, how much wealth he would have. You see what I'm saying?
Right now.
And it's like, because no one told him that. But at the end of the day, he probably didn't think he was going to be making it for that long either. You see what I'm saying? So he was just doing what he wanted to do. And then look at someone like Master P. Like my brother and Master P literally got the same exact deal, right? Master P said, hey, I'll give up a little for the machine. My brother said, no, I want to be the machine myself, which is fine. He want to have complete ownership. And that's just the difference in thinking. He was thinking me. Mm-hmm. P was thinking like, well, me and you and you and you, we can all do this together. Mm-hmm. One person worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and my brother still got a couple mil, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, 100 mils, like your children are set up. You see what I'm saying? So, but that's the difference between understanding how wealth works and understanding how income works. Brother was focused on the income. I can sell CDs up the back. I can sell them myself. I can make the full profit, so on and so forth. See that? But he wasn't understanding the residual effects of letting the distributors do the distribution, letting them do all those things. He wanted all the money, and in return, he didn't get as much as he could. So, yeah. But see, that's kind of stuff like I grew up around. I grew up around seeing someone having these type of situations, having lawyers talk to him about situations, and then fast forward to my later life now, you know, having conversations with Uncle St. Charles. So that's E40's uncle, right? But completely, totally different situations. I'm doing business with him on a fluke, and I was like, you the same Uncle St. Charles? Who? It's like, yeah, that's my. I was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, you know who my brother? He's like, yeah, I know your brother, man. I helped your brother get his first little, you know, his money. So I was like, for real? But it's just funny when you in circles, and all this is because I got an insurance license. And I always try to tell people, like, insurance was the thing that opened up all these other opportunities for me, because I can remember being the only person in the room who could talk about insurance. Insurance is not fun to talk about, right? But just imagine when you're in a room and you're the only one who could talk about something.
Yeah.
Like that's why I said I always felt like I was the most important person in the room, because I knew the one thing that most people didn't know. Which was insurance. Like, you don't know if you got bad car insurance until you get into an accident. You think you got the best, you think you got full coverage until you get in an accident and your insurance doesn't cover foreign parts. So just think about this. You don't know your insurance doesn't cover foreign parts until you get into an accident. Would you say the insurance agent did a bad job?
No, he did a great job because he got it.
Yeah, but your insurance doesn't cover foreign parts. So now go hit somebody who got a car that got 80% foreign parts. Now your insurance doesn't cover it. Now you have to pay for it out of your pocket. Then you're gonna be like, damn, I got bad insurance. But then at that point, it's too late.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's just little small things like that. But insurance is like the thing I credit that started me to become an entrepreneur, because I knew it was something that I could always do. I didn't have to wait on nobody. I could always help people. So that's what I'm passionate about, helping people.
I love it. I'm loving this. You really dropping a lot of gems.
So many gems.
And I had all these statistics too about finances and debt and stuff like that. But man, hey, shooting the breeze is
it's authentic. We don't like to
put your notepad away.
It's literally it's no written down questions. It's not nothing scripted. It's just like a free flowing conversation. At the same time, I'm soaking up game, but I want to know who you are and let the people know who you are at the same time. So, right now, like I said previously. Well, we're all in the business space right now. So I know that you said you have 2 businesses. Give us some like good business tips and like good ways to go into it and not to go into it. Like just kind of like just because we in this, but it's like when you start off, it's difficult when you haven't learned it. You know what I mean? You can't just jump into a space and think it's just gonna happen overnight. Yes, it's a long-term thing, owning your own business, but it's like basically just tell me like the smart way to do it, and don't like shoot for the moon and just think that's what's gonna happen and it's gonna happen initially. Understanding that we all know that, you know, over time we're not gonna make money for the first couple months, maybe the first couple years, but once it kickstarts.
Stop right there. Why would you start a business that you can't make money in the first couple of months?
Because that's typically that's usually how it is. It's like you put money into something and you're
just listen to what you said though. Why would anybody start a business that you're not gonna make no money in the first month? Like economically, that doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So probably don't want to start that business, right? So it all depends on what are you in it for. Because you may start a business like you said.
The question we asked,
that you're not gonna make money initially, but damn, a month, 2 months, 3 months, then it's like you're gonna go get you a job. Then it's gonna stop you from month 4 start making money. You see what I'm saying? So most people start businesses where there is no goals that are within arm's reach. One of the things my brother used to always tell me about business is that you want to focus on things that are within arm's reach. Anything that's in arm's reach, you can make come to life, right? Like if I, not to be violent, but if I wanted to punch you, right? I mean arm's distance, right? So I could do it, right? But that's the point I'm making. Like it's.
I gotta back up on
Yeah,
that.
no, but just trick what I'm saying though, right?
Yeah, I get
Anything
that.
in arm's distance, you can literally touch. But the problem is people start having these goals that are across the street. I don't care how long your arms are, I can't reach across the street. And that's what people start their business with things that it's gonna take them to reach across the street. And they can't just hit something within arm's distance. So this is why a lot of people start businesses and they don't last, because there's no way for them to put a goal in mind that's within arm's distance. You see what I'm saying? So I started a digital distribution company. It was distributing music and films, right? I had no experience about digital distribution, right? I had a 15-minute conversation with my brother about it because my mom said, all right, you need to help your brother with music, and y'all need to work together because y'all, it'll be so good. And I was like, Mom, me and him think differently. I'm more like structure, build it, have some checks and balances in place. But I called him and he's like, we'll start a distribution company. Every artist needs distribution. So I was like, all right. We had a 15-minute conversation. Like I started a business off of a 15-minute conversation. And it all stemmed because me and one of my other partners was talking about we wanted to make $20,000 in a month. So from having a conversation at Applebee's saying, man, I need to make $20,000 this month. This is November 2010. We at Applebee's talking about, man, I want to make $20,000 this month.
Couple dollar Long Island.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Eating some tacos. It was at the Antioch. Antioch Applebee's right there off of Hillcrest, right?
That's the one.
And at that time, yeah, right by the so it's like, but that's why I started a business. I started a business because I wanted to make $20,000 in a month, and I knew my job was going to pay me $20,000 in a month. See, so I had a 15-minute conversation with my brother about it. Then boom, January 1st, I had a distribution company. First thing he told me was like, hey man, you need to spend some money, get some features. Because if you get some features for some music, you put it out, it's gonna catch on. So 2011, Rick Ross wasn't who he is today, but my brother put me in a position where I could get a verse from Rick Ross, get a verse for the game, and I put that out. So my first month of having a business, I made $100. So then as more people start streaming it and downloading it, then the money's coming in. You see what I'm saying? This is something I did in 2011, I'm still getting money for it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I asked the question like, well, why would you start a business that takes so long to have some type of money coming in, right? So you always want to start a business where you can have goals that within arm's distance. You always want to start a business that you could build upon, that you can see some type of results, right? Because it's hard to be passionate about something where no results are coming in.
Yeah.
Like this is why so many people get in real estate, right? Because they want to make a shitload of money selling houses. But what happens when you don't sell a house for 3 months? It's not that you're a bad real estate agent, it's just that shit. It could be a dry market, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not making no money for 3 months, then what you gonna do? You're gonna go get a job. But what if you knew in month 4 you was gonna sell 5 houses in 1 month? Would you go get that job knowing that? Probably not. But since you don't got the hindsight and you can't predict the future, you go get the job. So that's why I'm like saying like, get into a business where you can have goals that are within arm's distance. You can have things that could be achieved easier. Build the momentum. Like people just want to go shoot for the moon. And it's like, I'm not saying don't dream big. Dream big. You gotta dream. You gotta have a big why. You gotta have a big dream, right? But you better focus on them goals that are within arm's distance. You see what I'm saying? Like a person who starts cutting hair, don't be like, I'm just gonna open up a barbershop. They go to school. They get some, some heads under their belt. It's a process, right? Everything in life, everything with building a business is a process. And sometimes you just luck out. Sometimes it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Sometimes you just become an overnight success. I literally watched my brother at the age of 17 tell my mom, like, oh, Mom, I'm not going to be robbing people no more. I'm not going to sell drugs. I'm going to be a rapper. I can remember being, 10 years old or 9 years old, hearing my brother have that conversation with my mom, and then by the time he was 20, making all this money. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I seen what it took, but I also see that these people don't work as hard as he worked. This is why he was able to be successful. A lot of people today don't work hard at all. They just put some posts on Instagram, share my post. I'm selling cookies now. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And it's everybody like, now you're selling teas, and now you're doing this, and now you're doing weight loss. And okay, you selling weight loss, but I don't see you ever working out. So, what, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, I think you said it earlier when we was talking offline
Shout
about
out to
scammers.
bitches.
But I'm just saying, like we live in a society where everybody, the quickest way to success is being a scammer, man. And it's like, and it makes it hard for people to want to do something legit because it's like you see the scammers winning because we got more fools out there than ever because social media turns everybody into a fool.
100%.
Like, how many people got them messages where somebody like, hey, give me $100, I can turn it to $1,000?
I
see you post that stuff. I get that stuff.
I start messing around with it.
I'm messing around
I
with
said,
it.
send me $1,000. I'm gonna send you back $100. I'm gonna send you back $100. That way it's gonna work. It's gonna be more beneficial.
Yeah.
They write back, nah, it don't work that way.
Don't work that way. No,
I'm
send
broke,
me money
so
first.
you
Right.
feel me?
Right. My cousin works at Wells Fargo, Western Union. Like, well, your cousin worked there. Why ain't they just running up the scoreboard then? Why ain't he my money to run up? Oh, nah.
Yeah.
But those are the things that people are falling for, man. We falling for these Instagram girls talking about, hey, I'll do promo for you. I'm gonna dance to your song. And I always tell artists all the time, like, why are you paying her to dance to your song, man? They're not looking to hear your song. They're looking to see her cheeks.
Yeah,
right. I don't get that. It'd be different if she's creating a YouTube and she's putting it on YouTube because you can at least collect publishing for that. But you can't collect publishing off of no Instagram model putting your video on her feed talking about, look at this song. Shout out to D-Boy X and his new song, Hot Girl, Why. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is why I could make money off of publishing and I don't have to be an artist because I'm not paying Instagram models to twerk to my song. While you spending hundreds of dollars to get her to twerk to your song, you could be spending $50. That's $50 to start a music publishing company.
Talk
A music publishing company costs $50. Do you realize if you're a music producer listening to this podcast right now, if you gave away 1,000 beats and each one of those artists put out a song, that's 1,000 songs on YouTube. Just think about if you gave that song and it got downloaded multiple times. Now you got 10,000 artists using your whack ass beat just to put on YouTube. That's publishing right there in its finest. That's 10,000 people posting videos on YouTube for your whack ass production that you ain't gonna never make no money off of. Something that took you 10 minutes to make. If it took you 10 minutes to make a beat and you made 100 beats, right? That's just math, right? That's only an hour and 40 minutes right there of making 100 beats that you gave away. Just say, hey, this is free, this is free, this is free. You want to know why Zaytoven is so popular? Because when he moved to Atlanta, he was giving away free instrumental CDs because everybody and their mama was going to get on those CDs and put it on YouTube.
Facts.
Instant publishing. My brother told him to do that. He said, Zay, just put your music out, man. Give it away for free.
Facts.
But Fig, man, hey, man, how I'm going to make money? Hey, man, guess what? They going to make you popular.
Facts.
Because you got talent.
Facts.
And that's why talent is going to always beat untalented people. So, $50 to start a music publishing company.
I needed that transfer. I needed him all up in the mic. That's why I brought him here. You hear me?
Speak.
So real quick, my guy got a rapid fire for you.
Oh, yeah,
A couple
we
questions
got-
real quick. Answer it timely and quick as possible.
Okay, I'm going to just, whatever comes to my mind, I'm just going to say
All right,
it.
there you
I'm
go.
not going to think about it.
Don't be deep at all. I know it's hard. Go to movie.
Gladiator.
Go to meal.
Ooh. Dang.
Don't think.
Tacos.
Favorite athlete.
Myself.
Damn. Okay. Oodles and noodles. Chicken or beef.
Just noodles.
You got to pick a flavor. We got a contest going right now.
Oh, God. Chicken.
Ah!
I mean, just think about it like
You
top
got one
ramen
up. You got
is
one.
always chicken flavor. It's always there. Cup of noodles is always chicken flavor, right? So
Facts.
you gotta like search for beef. Chicken is always there.
Facts.
Yeah,
It's the more popular one.
We up
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
We up
Yeah,
one.
one.
We up one.
yeah, but tacos, man, tacos.
Tacos for sure. Yes.
I had a couple of them before we started our show earlier.
Facts.
So
They didn't bring nothing back.
for me, I was saying, like me personally, I know everybody listening too. You were talking about a little bit of your investments, so give me some good tools or some good investment strategies or some good ways to get into investing, because I'm a rookie into it. I got into the way of what I see on social media, doing Stash, Acorns, Robinhood, small ways,
Shout out
little
to
bitty
Robinhood.
investments, and it's like small, like 75 cents here, $5 here, $10 here, and you just put it towards stuff that actually is going to like appreciate no matter what, but it's like not a big risk. So just give me some little, and everybody that's listening, some good investment strategies.
So number one is actually have a strategy, because like you just said, putting 75 cents here, $5 there, it's not really a strategy, right? Like if you was paying down your credit card and you would just put a little bit here, or just say you had multiple ones, you put a little bit here, a little bit more there, it's not really a strategy, right? It got to be something that you consistently could do.
Yeah.
So for the sake of being in compliance, I'm not going to talk about which stocks, but I will say that whatever strategy that you're going to implement, it need to be something that you could do on a bi-weekly basis. So if you're going to be buying stocks, buy bi-weekly. Set out, okay, I'm going to take $100 every other week, and I'm going to use this $100 to buy XYZ stocks, and just keep doing it. Because the goal about stocks is all about acquiring shares. Like, if Amazon is worth $3,000, but you only got one share, that's only worth $3,000. But if I had 100,000 shares of Amazon, now I got $30 million. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about acquiring shares. So you buy when stuff is low, and you sell when stuff is high. You don't sell because you only sell when you need the money. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you can go through the ups and downs. If you needed the money, obviously a down is going to be hard for you, but that's why you got to keep acquiring shares. Because if you keep acquiring it, the price may be higher, so your $100 is not going to go as far. But when the price is coming down, just like they were back in March, the $100 goes a lot further. So that's why it's important to have a strategy of just consistently doing it, because you don't know when the price is going to be up or down. But if you wait until it go down, you might miss the mark. But if you constantly already doing it, you're going to get the benefit of the market when it's up, when it's down. You see what I'm saying? So.
Can you break down, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into this, going to stock market, what you're talking about, day trading and swing trading.
So day trading is for people who got money. So if you're listening to this and you don't got money, don't even think about day trading. So, I'm just trying to be real, because to have a real day trade account, you gotta have $25,000
at least.
At least. You know, Robinhood will let you do some day trades, but they're gonna give you 3.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? Then if you break that 3, they're gonna put you on restrictions for 90 days. So it's kind of like, once again, Robinhood is kind of like a catch-22, because what happens is we live in an information age, so people, instead of hiring professionals, they want to go do it themselves. So while Poo over here buying stocks here, stocks there, whatever the case may be, I could be putting.
Take my money on what you're doing.
Yeah, I could be putting together a strategy for him that shows him like, hey man, you can start off with $50 every other week, but if you increase it, this is what's gonna start looking like. So I could put together a strategy for him so he can actually see how his money will perform versus no strategy at all. And that's the problem with accumulating wealth, is that we don't have a strategy to accumulate it, right? We just hope it's gonna happen. Like, everybody in here has an ideal of what wealth is, but what are you doing to achieve that wealth? What is your strategy? You see what I'm saying? Is your strategy, I'm gonna be the best employee ever? You see what I'm saying? Or is your strategy like, nah, I'm gonna become the CEO of this company? You see what I'm saying? But it's like, what's that strategy that's gonna take you there? So anything, if you wanna get out of debt, you gotta have a strategy. People much rather go get a debt resolution loan to pay off the debt, but you still got debt. Like, you didn't even leave the debt, you still got debt. But if you put together a strategy where you systematically pay it off, you become a better investor, because you systematically pay something off versus getting a lump sum. You ain't learned nothing. You got bailed out. You see what I'm saying? So when you put together a debt strategy and you follow the debt strategy, once you get out of debt, it makes it that much easier to apply those same principles to investing. You're not now blowing money because you stuck to a strategy to get out of debt, and you're not trying to get back in it. So now you're gonna be more advantageous to invest. You see what I'm saying? So I don't need people just with money. I need people who are gonna be disciplined. So they teach you investing. There's 3 Ds of investing, right? Discipline, dollar cost averaging, and diversification. Discipline just means when the strategy is put in place, just follow it. Dollar cost averaging is basically what I just told you about. No matter what the market is up or down, you're committing to your $50 every other week. That's dollar cost averaging. And all that means is that the value of it may go up, the value of it may go down, but your money goes further when the market goes down. So you're not necessarily trying to time it, but the cost per share goes down because you're buying it when it's down versus just buying it when it's going up. You see what I'm saying? 100%. And then the last one is diversification. If you don't know what diversification is, the simplest form. If you had one basket and you had 100 eggs in that basket, and that 100 eggs represented $1,000, and you drop that basket, the likelihood of you breaking all those eggs is really high. But if you had 10 baskets with 1,000 eggs and put 100 eggs in each basket and you drop 3 of those baskets, the most you could ever lose is 300 eggs. That's how diversification works. So diversification is basically not having all your eggs in one basket. You see what I'm saying? So many people who are trying to build wealth, they buy a product. And when I mean by product, they buy something that's supposed to do all these things for them, right? And I know it's probably when people who's watching and listening and things like that who work in insurance, they sell you insurance products that's supposed to grow and things like that. That's a product. That's not a strategy. You see what I'm saying? And I've been in insurance for a long time. And the more complicated the name of the insurance product is, the more complicated it is for your money to work in it. You see what I'm saying? But so many of our people buy insurance products that's supposed to build cash value, and a lot of people gonna be disappointed. And you know, I don't ever try to argue with those people who like those type of products. It's just for what? Yeah. I know what I know. They know what they know. Simple as that. Yeah. You know, but anytime you're buying a product that's insurance, it's really for safety. You see what I'm saying? You're investing, like, you don't put money in bank because you want it to grow. You put money in the bank because it's safety.
Right.
It's security. You're not worrying about it going up and down. That's sort of like an insurance product. And that's kind of like how they sell people. Oh, it's going to make money. You're going to never have to worry about losing it. But it's like, if you're not a high net worth individual, none of the benefits of putting your money in there is not even advantageous for you to grow. You see what I'm saying? High net worth individuals buy because they're trying to but they're trying to reduce their taxes on that money in the future. But if you're making $50,000, $60,000, hell, even if you're making $150,000, you're not a high net worth individual if you make $150,000. Okay, that's not a high net worth individual who makes $150,000, because somebody who's making $65,000 pretty much makes as much as somebody who makes $150,000 after taxes. Especially if they got children. So if I make $80,000 a year and I got 4 children, I'm still roughly taking home about $68,000 of that. Versus someone who makes $100,000 with no children, they're probably only bringing home about $67,000. So you're still in the same boat. But
like, I need some kids.
You need some deductibles. You need deductibles. You need deductibles. Start the LLC. Just have deductibles, man. Have all these different, like, man, LLCs now, someone said they cost about $200, man. My first LLC cost me $680. But apparently now there's people out there doing LLCs for $250. Start your LLC, and even if you're not making money, just write off everything. And I'm talking about every single thing. Get you an app that's just gonna do it for you, so you ain't gotta worry about it. Okay? Yep. So, but that's what I did. I mean, I wrote off $40,000 one year for our business income. That means I didn't pay no money. And y'all get mad at companies like Amazon and all them not paying no taxes and stuff. Like, hey man, how you gonna win the game if you don't know the rules?
Exactly.
Don't be mad because Tom Brady and them deflating balls, you know, they know the rules. Hey man, that's what it is.
That's why I brought you on literally so people can understand the stuff we not taught. Literally, we don't get this game from nowhere, like at all. Like, we behind the curve. As a people, we not really taught. The system is set up for us to lose. So the fact that we take the time out and you took the time out to learn all of this and get the game that you got, now you're giving it back to people who was gracious enough to come and bring it to us, man. I'm in honor of you coming, bro. I appreciate you for saying when I asked you to come, bro. I really do appreciate you coming. So our last question, when all our guests we asked.
You already answered it though, for real.
I just wanted to say it.
You go a little bit in.
But I want to answer it in the sense of content.
Yeah.
For us
But still a part of it. You answered it, but we still want to ask you.
So what is our last question? Is what is your why?
My why. Oh, okay, so my why is that I want to be an example for people who look like me. You know, I'm not doing this because, like I tell people, I'm not motivated by money. If I was motivated by money, I go take that job being a purchasing manager, and I could do it in my sleep and make $80,000 without really doing anything. You know, but I'm not motivated by that because that takes away from me mentoring young people. That takes away from me being mentored too. You know what I'm saying? So my whys is basically being able to be an example for people that people can actually touch. This is why I didn't want to name nobody famous, because that's not real, man. Following Gary Vee is good, that's inspiration, and Grant Cardone, that's good and inspiration, but You know, it's Grant Cardone's right here in your neighborhood. They may not have as much money as him, but they know just as much information as him. Why aren't you not leaning on them? You know, we want to go lean on people that we can't touch, and this is why you don't get those results you desire. You got to go get up under somebody that could touch you, who could steer you in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I do it. I do it because I know people can reach out to me and touch me. Like, people would hit me up about music stuff all the time, and they're like, "Damn, you replied to me?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, of course I'm gonna reply to you, man." You said, because it takes me nothing to reply. But that's the problem when we live in society. Like, people don't want, they just want to be popular. Like, I ain't checking no messages. I check my messages, man. And sometimes I don't see them because they got to come in as a request because they don't follow me, right? But I get back to everybody, man. I always try to find 30 minutes of my time to talk to somebody.
Well, I appreciate you gave us about an hour and a half of your time, bro. I really
Man,
do.
tell people where they can find you, sir.
Hold on. I actually gave them about 4 hours of my time. I had to drive here. I had to make some preparations and things like that. See, I'm big on time management, man. So I really gave them about 4 hours of my time.
I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you.
Every
Thank
single
you.
second
Thank
you gave me, bro. Like I said already, bro, I really appreciate all the time you did give me today.
That's
Well,
all
gave
good,
us
man.
and the team, man. I really appreciate you for coming, bro. Let the people know for advice, for consulting, or just anything they want to get. Tell them where they can reach you: Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
So my Instagram is Mr. Burton 44, and then
That's Mr. Burton. Don't spell it out.
MRBURTON number 44. And then my other Instagram is just called Wisdom Creates Wealth. So if you actually search that hashtag, you're going to see everything that I post, because a few years ago, I got tired of saying WCW as Women Crush Wednesday. So I said, you know, every Wednesday I'm going to drop some wisdom. Wisdom creates wealth. So that's my other Instagram, Wisdom Creates Wealth. So it's wisdom _creates _wealth.
It's clever.
Hey man,
That's
I do digital marketing too,
That's the
so
film
you know,
moment. You think about something different.
that is definitely the film moment.
Hey man, on behalf of SmooV, this is Poo, man. Bird, Art, my bad. I appreciate you for coming, bro. Thank you, man, for taking the time out. You can catch all of this on YouTube channel, also on our Apple Podcasts, or Spotify as well, all streaming platforms. We up out of here.
We up out of here.
My felony record, my misdemeanor record. That's right, but don't judge me.
That they're gonna give up on in a month. I'm not worried about them being successful. Like, look, you gotta start looking at these people online and point to their success stories. They ain't got many of them. You see what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they ain't got none besides themselves. My brother was so successful in music because everything he did worked for him. But no one else could duplicate what he did. No one else could duplicate the Wall Street trapper. No one could duplicate these people, but they sell the idea that you could be just like me. You see what I'm saying? It's like, nah, you can't.
Buy my book.
Yeah,
And you can do the same thing
hey man, buy my book, man. You know? See, I was gonna write a book called How to Make $100,000 in 100 Days. And
I guarantee that would have sold off the title.
oh yeah, it will. You know what I'm saying? And what I was gonna do was just take all these different industries and just interview people. How can they make $100,000 doing what they do? You know, so simple. 10,000 pieces of product, You just sell them at $10 a piece.
Yep.
Boom, there's $100,000. 1,000 pieces of product, you just sell them at $100.
But
Boom.
again, people don't look at it that way.
They don't look at it that way. So
If it's broken down that simple, then a lot of people will be like, okay.
yeah, but see, this is the caveat though. I could spend. Listen, I got my insurance license back when 2006. I spent like $300 something for it.
Yep.
I made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of something that I spent $300 for. Motherfuckers won't even spend $300 to learn a different skill set to even make that money. You see what I'm saying? So.
Well, the part that you're missing is the caveat is the effort, and that's something that is not
Is it just the effort, or is it just the fact that so many people want just that instant gratification?
No,
And yeah, the generation that we're living in today, that $300 is nothing, but that effort to do what you did to multiply and multiply and multiply that. That's the Wall Street Trapper.
Yeah.
Not to use him as a.
No, because I see people always sharing his stuff. People always following him like, oh, you should do something like that. It's like, nah, but that's not real. What I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be a celebrity trying to tell people and sell people on what I do. I want to see actual results.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where financial literacy come into play. See, what he's doing is teaching you how to make an income. Income ain't gonna never set you free. You see what I'm saying? He ain't teaching you how to build wealth. He's teaching you how to make an income.
Yeah.
When you trade, you're doing it to make an income.
Yep.
Like when I just was telling Pooh right there, if I spend $133 and I knew there was a 95% chance of me losing it, would you do that? Most people wouldn't because it's not tangible.
Right.
I ain't buying no shoes. Why spend $133 on some shoes like that?
Well, we had the same conversation with our partners, and we having this like we're trying to get an LLC, right? But it's not real. You can't see it, but it is real. You know, like it's an idea, it's a vision. But the fact that we gotta go a couple different ways on $800 for something that's bigger than us is like you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense.
Because it's man, I started my first business, and I mentioned this when we do the podcast, but I started my first business not even because I wanted to start a business, because me and one of my partners was at Applebee's, and I looked at him and I said, man, I need to make $20,000 this month. He's like, shit, I need to make that too. I said, I'm gonna start a business. That's just how it happened. Not because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because I wanted to make $20,000 in a month, and my job wasn't gonna get that to me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
not without you giving them at least $200,000.
Right. So for me, it was like, okay, well, let me set out. My mom asked me to help my brother in the music industry because he's like real hustle. And I'm more like, let's build something, let's structure something.
Right.
Let's have a system in place so we could always make money. So I called him and I was like, I want to get in the music industry. What should I do? He said, start a distribution company. Every artist needs distribution.
Right.
Me and him had literally a 15-minute conversation about it. And I started a distribution company off of a 15-minute conversation. So once again, it had nothing to do with the education. It had nothing to do with no college. It had everything to do with because I wanted to make $20,000 in 1 month. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I'll go deeper into it because the fact of, that I've gotten a high level of education, it's more of a myth that the middle class is taught is material form of success, when actually success is real dollars and equity and things and land and, you know what I'm saying, things that really can constitute generational wealth and not just a piece of paper from an institution that didn't even let black people win before a certain time.
Yeah, man. One of my cousins worked at this company, and she wanted to give me a purchasing manager position. And I was considering, like, man, I ain't had a job since 2014, but I was like, oh, I could make this easy money, right? And I was talking to her yesterday. I said, cuz, I got something to say. She was like, what's that? I said, I'm scared. She was like, what you scared for? I said, I'm scared of losing my freedom. See, people look at job as an income. I look at job as losing my freedom. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, even though I knew right out the back I was gonna make $80,000 part-time just to do something that I'm already good at, which is teaching people how to be lean in areas so they can increase their productivity. That shit, I didn't even go to school for that. It's just because I've been around business. You see what I'm saying? So I know how to see stuff and like, if you remove this step and just bring this this piece right here, you can have a more streamlined approach. And she said, man, cuz you could do the shit in your sleep. And I was like, man. So I was considering it. She sent me the offer letter and everything. I'm like, man. I called her yesterday. I'm like, I'm scared. She's like, what you scared for? I said, I'm scared of losing my freedom. She's like, shit, I'm trying to get in your position. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, and this is what we said when I first met you, and connecting right back. your time is your most valuable thing.
Yeah, I tell.
So you're substituting that time for them, which they know if you spend it on yourself will be 10, 20, 100 times more than what you give them.
So when I one of the first things I tell every client that I consult is my time is priceless, your time is priceless. Don't waste my time. I won't waste your time. You know, because I get upset about wasting my time. I could lose money because I could make it back.
Speed!
I get upset about people wasting my time. That's like I want to fight people when they mess up my time. You see what I'm saying? So that's how. Because I got a family, man. Like I don't want to be catting off and doing shit. Like that's why I said I could spend money because I could make it back.
Yep.
I can't spend my time catting off because I can't make it back, man. Like that's a wrap. So.
He definitely said that to me.
You was talking so much game, I had to start the record
That's
button,
all
bro.
good, man.
I'm
It's
sorry,
all
bro.
good.
You
It's all good.
left and I went. So I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna start holding on the record.